Hey people, it's Teal Gamer with an Outer Worlds video, and there will be no gameplay at all in this. This is basically a discussion about what I'm getting at on this context, and I'm probably going to get a shitload of hate for this video, but you know what, that doesn't really matter because it's not going to change anything. Usually people are going to disagree with me, which is fine, but it's not going to change anything I'm talking about. And after taking an extremely long, in-depth look at what this game's storyline is and everything else involved, plus having all my other previous videos about games in general and just lazy development and the situation going on in general with the entire gaming industry as a whole, and also looking at the things that I look at on the odd end of things, which is some things I noticed. Because like I said, if you take a look at my Bethesda Fallout 76 video regarding the shitstorm that is, I brought up a valid point about the membership in the atoms and what can possibly happen. And again, that's something that nobody bothered to look at. So let me, I know a couple of people are going to want to watch this stream, so I'm just waiting for people to get in here, and I'm going to start this within like 2 minutes or something like that. So just hang tight, give me a few minutes. That's it. I apologize for starting the stream late. I don't really want to call this a stream. This is more so a discussion, so that's about the extent of that. I don't have coffee tonight. I actually have strawberry soda. So let me begin here. I want to first clarify a few things about the Outer Worlds storyline and what the hell is going on with the gaming industry as a whole right now. And pretty much, if you take a look at it, and the structure and the confines of everything, Obsidian basically put out a video game about what the gaming industry has turned into as a whole. So when you take a look at the structure of the storyline, you have, in the future, corporations have taken over everything. That basically is a representation of what the hell is happening to the video game industry as a whole, and the corporations being Electronic Arts, Blizzard, Bethesda. This is what's going to basically wind up happening if this shitstorm keeps going on. Now, what's really interesting is the game system, the storyline in the game obviously portrays you as the consumer. But what's interesting about this is you as the consumer is represented by Obsidian putting this game out. Obsidian literally represents you as the consumer by putting out a game that doesn't contain anything that the corporations are currently doing. Because if you actually take a look at this, Obsidian's basically warning everybody, if you keep going down the route you're going, there's going to be nobody left to put anything out because corporations are going to control what's out. So Obsidian puts out a game about how evil the corporations are and disguised it as a game people are playing. That's really what the storyline is about. It's really in-depth and really screwy. That brings me to the point of why it's not as good as you're being told. And I don't mean that as the game, its storyline is not, oh man, that's not cool. I literally mean the reason every single person is praising this game is because right now, this game was put out at a time where the industry is so out of control that people look at it as a refreshing take on things. But in reality, every single person praising this game loves Fallout New Vegas, loves Obsidian Games, and they're biased toward that. So when they put out a review or they say this game is great, the review is already biased because it has the name Obsidian connected to it. And just like when Bethesda put out Fallout 76 and they keep doing this shit over and over again. They just destroy their own reputations. But despite their destroying their own reputations, they're still out there making money because people are still feeding it. That shows you how weak as a consumer people really are. And it doesn't matter how many people warn you. it doesn't matter. The corporations are still going to go make do with it anyway, regardless of how much resistance they get. So I'm going to take the game apart because if you actually take a look at it, there's nothing new at all that Obsidian has done with this game. At all. So, case in point, all the reviewers are more or less at one point have put out several videos about how sandbox games, there are just too many of them. The repetitiveness of all games in almost all major corporations. Madden is nothing new. It keeps adding a player, removing shit, and then putting it out as a new game the next year. And the people who go mad about Madden are like, oh, this is great, this is a new game. It's not a friggin' new game. It's the same game being put out over and over again. Call of Duty, it's the same game being put out over and over again. Pretty much a lot of people that, pissed to go bitched at about Ubisoft. Ubisoft's games are all identical. There isn't anything different about them. So, that brings me to the point on this game here. This game is repetitive of all the other ones Obsidian put out. So, in a time frame where you have everybody praising this game and basically saying other game developers are too repetitive, is contradicting themselves. Because if you take a look at it, Obsidian has done nothing new with this game at all. It's all the same systems. It's all the same deceptive freedom of choices, which people are now being deceived that, oh yeah, it changes the end of the game. People said the same thing about Dragon Age Origins. Dragon Age Origins only had the illusion of choice. All the options didn't really do anything to the storyline. Nothing actually changes. And this is the same exact thing. You cannot put out multiple endings like this without, to a game like this without repetitively doing it. The systems are the same. On top of that, there's so many first-person shooters out there. There's nothing new to this. On top of that, this is literally a replication copy palette of the cartoon-style drawings, or the animation, of Borderlands and other rancid first-person shooters. The entire market has already been flooded with first-person shooters. Okay? It's already flooded with it. This is nothing new. So, the point here is that when you break it all down, this game is not as good as you're being told, and that people are, oh, this is great. It's nothing new. Nothing's really changed. The cartoonish style, graphics are the same. And to make matters worse, it is, and I've said this countless times in my videos, it does not matter how much shit you put into a game, how many mechanics. If you don't explain your fucking mechanics, the game is shit. I don't give a shit how many people say this game's good. Inside the game, it doesn't go over half the stuff you need to in order to play. So these gamers are like, well, I can play this. And if people think that's not relevant, that's fine. That's not going to change the fact that the more systems you put in the game and the less instruction you have, the worse the game becomes. You cannot put systems in a game and then not explain how the systems operate. That's not how this fucking works. And then say, well, you can just look it up on YouTube. That's not a valid excuse. This game has entirely way too many freaking systems in it that are too overly complex and don't have a shred of explanation in them. If you go take a look at the video that I did about so far of everything I found wrong so far, you'll find that a new player can't even get out of the beginning area. So never mind having all these systems about, you can change weapons. The game didn't even explain if you even have an inventory system, which it already should have. That's one of the first things you should be told about. Now, since I haven't gone far enough, I can't really, I'm not really going to get into that one way or the other. But the fact remains, I know how Obsidian's games are. They are absolute shit when it comes to stuff. Just go look at my Baldur's Gate videos and you'll see. I literally ripped apart where it says how to play. It doesn't even explain how to play. And if you take a look at the everything I found wrong so far, you'll find it doesn't even explain to you about camera movements, but yet it'll tell you how to move and shit like that. It's fucking ridiculous, the stupidity level and the utter shit level that the development team does. They put all this work into deceiving the market. This company is no better than what everybody else is complaining about. The only reason you're not complaining about this game is simply because it's put out at a time where everybody's sick of microtransactions, sick of being taken advantage of with DLCs, not being put in. But when you take a look at it, The game system is no different than what they've already previously done. This is just recycled content put out at a time where people are sick of what the current market is doing. That is the only reason this game has survived this long for this well, and people are saying that this is this good. As I said, it's broken down. The storyline is basically just pretty much a freaking warning about what the hell is going to happen with the gaming industry as a whole if you keep letting it go, because the fucking corporations own everything, which is pretty much what they do now. They've monopolized the market to such the extent the monetization is out of fucking control. And that's what's going to happen. In the future, when you go to these different planets, it's almost like each planet is represented by a different company. One planet's fucking Bethesda. One planet's Blizzard. One planet's EA. I mean, come on, it's fucking ridiculous. It doesn't take much brains to really see that particular aspect. I mean, that's clever. That's a clever storyline, don't get me wrong, if that's the case. But it's just the fact that all of these mechanics have already been used in tons of other games that everybody already in the current market is complaining about. There's literally nothing in this game that is new. The color palette is also taken. It's used. It's worn out. The whole concept of going to world to world to world has already been used. It's, everybody's piggybacking off of everything, and everybody's like, oh, yes. Like I said, the only reason that this game came and is being received so well is because it was put out at a time that doesn't have any bullshit. It doesn't even have any freaking DRM in it. It's ridiculous. It really doesn't even have any DRM. So, that's really all there is to say on this, and that's just wanted to make this quick video. So, again, The Outer Worlds, it's not as good as you're being told. It's just not. And people really shouldn't be going around praising this just because they have a bias toward this, and instead just say, yeah, this game's doing well simply because out of all the games that have the microtransaction, all the bullshit, this one went completely against all that. So it's not like it's a refreshing take. It's just people are sick of it, and that's why this was received so well. So that's all there is to it. This is TL Gamer signing off. You guys have a good day or night wherever you